And another happy and beautiful Monday evening here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Off the Ball Facebook and Twitter page. All our fans in the Off the Ball Network fandom and beyond, welcome to your usual affair of the Bunts and Bruises podcast. As always, your two favorite hockey and baseball guys in sports media nowadays and on the network. Technically, the only hockey and baseball guys on the network, but semantics. We don't need to worry about the finite details of all that. As always, one of your guys, one of your hosts, bringing to you everything ice related. Jurg, and of course, I cannot do this without the leadoff hitter in our OTBN All-Star game and one of the leadoff pitchers as well. You guys know him, love him, the Don of baseball himself, James Barcia.
Jurg, we got your new nickname. It's the Iceman. That's it. It's done. I like it. We're booking it. Put it in. Write whatever sign you need to put outside your office. That's it. The Iceman. I love it. But either way, how you guys doing? It's Monday. It's my favorite time, 8 p.m. We got a lot of sports. Crazy weekend in sports, actually. It was the Stanley Cup Finals ended last week. We had the Euro Cup. Italy ran away with it. Italy, I had all of Jersey going crazy. Gabagool was left and right. It was insane out here, Jurg. And now we got the All-Star game coming up this week, man. It's been an interesting week in sports, to say the least.
Oh, interesting. Absolutely. And, you know, we talk about the All-Star game in baseball. While we're still a ways away from the playoffs, we did have the playoffs in hockey finally come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. The NHL 2021 season has finally finished. The whole ordeal of it all has come to a close, and it couldn't come, in my opinion, probably the best way it could have been, at least for my personal predictions. The Tampa Bay Lightning repeat as the Stanley Cup champions. They won it in 2020. They won it, honestly, like, James, people are talking about them going in back-to-back years. They essentially won the Cup twice within a span of like 9.5 months, which makes it even more impressive when you really think about it. So, James, I know I'm gonna wait on it for a little bit, but I want to give you your initial retort. You picked against the Lightning going into the series.
I did.
So you now? Obviously, you did it for the Cinderella run of it all. You love the idea of the Islanders in the East.
I did it because Tampa beat the Islanders, man. You gotta, like I was mad. I was upset. I was rooting for the Islanders, and then Montreal beat my Golden Knights. So it was like I don't want to see back, especially because everyone's yelling at Tampa for doing the salary cap thing. So, I just hopped on the bandwagon. I'm a casual. I don't know. I hated Tampa too. But, man, let me tell you, they ran through Montreal during these finals. And honestly, throughout this whole playoff run, if there was anything we learned from Tampa is, especially with all of a sudden this injury that Nikita Kucherov got at the end of the series, just this magical rib injury, where meanwhile it has no effect on him during the celebration of the Stanley Cup. By the way. This guy is
that's pure adrenaline,
slipping slides, chugging out the Stanley Cup. Yeah, it's true, it's adrenaline, but magically the salary cap's probably going to work again next year. And honestly, I could see them just repeating, being the first repeat since the New York Islanders did it in, what was that, Jurg, in the 80s?
Yeah. Back in the early 80s were the glory days of the New York Islanders. I mean, you mentioned the dominance of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think a lot of people, you hear the stats, but then you forget them so quickly. But this team, in the last two postseasons, whenever they lost, they would win immediately the next game. There were no back-to-back losses in any of the series by the Lightning. I think that was the most impressive thing through it all for both these runs. The fact that they were so poised and composed. Like I said, I've pointed this out in a recent article that that was produced yesterday, that was posted on the network website. Like, this was nowhere near the Tampa Bay team we saw in 2017, 2018, 2019. Like, some very talented teams, 2019 being the best iteration of them in the regular season, but they were just missing that mentality. And then we finally saw them break through in the bubble. And of course, just like the NBA, a lot of people wanted to put their doubts on it and, say that it wasn't legitimate. And then Tampa Bay just comes right back at it, finishing third in their division this season. But of course, they finished third when they really rested Vasilevsky a lot towards the end of the regular season. And like you said, Kucherov was out the whole regular season. Hedman was gone for the last week or so. And then same with Steven Stamkos. So all in all, the Tampa Bay Lightning definitely deserve their flowers. But I think they deserve a little bit more. I think, you go back to back, only the second team in the NHL salary cap era to go back to back. They deserve a little something more. They deserve, I don't know, James, I think they deserve a rant of some sort. So of course, I can do no justice to what this man that's coming on is about to do. You guys saw him a couple weeks back in one of our Getting to Know You segments. This man brought the fire. Then he's going to bring the fire right now. Today was the debut of his show on Dash Radio. We are very happy for him.
Yes.
One of the VPs of the Off the Ball Network, one of the most electric personalities in the sports media business today, our guy, Mo Murphy.
Hey, fellas, it's Bunts and Bruises. I know my guy, Bars, has a lot of bruises, but even having to deal with 10, 15 seconds, you know what, Bars, just sing it with me. I'm gonna give your guys it's a great day today. I'm gonna give your guys a show, so I'm gonna bless them with the vocals. Just sing it with me. We are the champions, my friends. Dun, dun. And we will
keep on fighting till the end.
Songbird of our generation.
I had to do that. I had to do that one time, Bars. I wanted to bless everybody. I want to bless my vocals on your show to show everybody I might can talk sports, but I can't sing. But Bars, what happened? We beat your Islanders. We win the Stanley Cup. We go back to back. You're already giving us a favorite to be a three-peat. Bars, can you handle a three-peat from the Tampa Bay Lightning? Can you handle a three-peat from the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Let me tell you, Mo, I'm a casual fan. I'm on the wagon now. That's it. It's over. The Lightning, my Lightning won the Stanley Cup. We're going for it a third time now.
Hey, I'm a casual fan too. Look, like I said, I have some love for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, that was the first sporting event I ever went to professionally anyway. But I love the Lightning. It's back home, bro. I seen my cousin. He went to the parade today. Bro, he caught a beer thrown from the coach, Jonathan Cooper.
That is great.
Boom.
Even better.
It has it on video. Thrown from the coach, caught a Bud Light from the coach, and was able, he was able to drink it, chug it.
Yeah,
so
I was about to say, he crack it and smash it immediately. So it's what you got to do.
Immediately. It was on video, so I seen all my family have a good time. They went out there. Obviously, it's like it's huge in Tampa right now. Like I said, obviously the Bucks won the Super Bowl. So it makes like, oh, yeah, everybody's gung-ho Tampa Bay Bucks. But the Tampa Bay Lightning really run Tampa. And it's kind of weird to say because it's in the state of Florida. So to say that any team, a hockey team is the team. But for years, bro, like the Lightning have gotten the support. They're the one team that sells out consistently in the regular season. You don't see it with the Rays. You don't see it with the Tampa Bay Bucks. You probably will now. But, man, like just seeing the celebration today, it made me like, oh, I wanted to be home so bad. I'm mad they did it so soon. I wanted to be home so bad for the celebration. Bro, it was amazing. Like, I know the energy back home with the Bucks coming in the next football season, being one of the favorites for the Super Bowl. Like, the sports energy back home is absolutely nuts right now. The Rays, the Rays are balling again in MLB. They just went to, they went to the World Series last year. So it's like, I'm about to campaign, bro. Bring the Toronto Raptors to Tampa Bay permanently. Like, bring them permanently.
Bring another championship.
If they win a couple of years ago, that actually probably would have been the move.
But you know what it'll be? You'll really call it Title Town. The only team I won't root for is the Bucks. It'll be Title Town. I just will not root for the Bucks. I won't change my love for the Miami Heat, so I keep that in Florida. But at the same time, I'd celebrate a Raptors championship if they move to Tampa. The Tampa Bay Raptors, change the colors a little bit. Maybe just name them the Tampa Bay Lightning, the NBA version. Why not? You'll have a shot at the championship. Bars, I know it hurts that the Lightning won. We beat your New York team. I understand, you're in New Jersey or New York?
I'm in Jersey.
Yeah, you're in Jersey, but I know you're big-time Brooklyn Nets fan, big-time Islanders fan.
You're
with the Mets, right? Not the Yankees?
No, of course, I'm with the Amazons. Yeah. I'm with the first place team. I know first place. I don't know on the 500.
What's crazy? I love that. That's what I do love about you. Is like you're from in that area and you're not a Yankees fan, a Rangers fan. You are a Giants fan. I forgot about that. But then you're Brooklyn. You're not the Knicks. Like you have that. You go against the grain. Except I'm glad you're not a Jets fan. That's a great thing. You can't be a Jets fan.
In my defense. The Giants play in Jersey, one. And two, when I was watching them when I was little, it was Giant Stadium. There wasn't this MetLife Stadium where they shared it. I mean, they shared it, but it was Giant Stadium, you know? So how could I not go with the Giants? But also, speaking of the Giants, they're two-time champions. And if you want to feel like a champion, make sure you sign up for my bookie, guys. That's my bookie, and use promo code off the ball. And you thought Monkey Knife Fight was good. Woo! They're matching $100 on your first bet. Once again, that's promo code off the ball, $100, any bet you want. Me personally, I take that 100 and put it all on Pete Alonso, speaking about my amazings. And, just make it an easy 200. It's free money. Who doesn't love free money? My apologies, VP. Go back to your rant.
Nah, you're good. You should have put it on the Lightning. That's what you should have did when we got the promo code. You should have put it on the Lightning. Then everybody would have won a lot of money. But no, I just wanted to come on here and give Bars a little hard time, For everybody that doesn't know, we go back and forth in the group chat on friendly trash talk when they were playing the Islanders. And then, of course, he was like, I don't want to have to hear his mouth again. So he was hoping the Lightning won. He's also a Golden Knights fan, so he was kind of stuck in the middle of who he had to root for. It says nobody was really a Canadians fan. It's like, okay, let's root against Mo's team. But I'm glad you guys had me on. I'm going to let y'all continue y'all show. I'll stay tuned in. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming on, Mo. We always appreciate when
always
you come on the
welcome.
show.
Even if you're coming to trash talk me, always welcome.
Of course, y'all. Y'all have a great show. I'm gonna keep watching.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you. That was absolutely outstanding. So, James, you took it on the chin like a champ. I mean, nothing Mo said was unfactual. And that was electric as always. But we can't really be surprised like that. Everyone at Off the Ball Network is electric. Come on now. Of course. And I mean, he's coming from Tampa. You got the electric, you got the lightning. It's meant to happen. And it's more money, like you said. I mean, this guy, he got his own show on Dash Radio now. It was on today. If you ain't watching that, I don't know what you're watching. It's insane. But, you're watching Bunts and Bruises here at 8 p.m. That's what you're watching. The only excuse for not listening to Mo's show is that you got to be listening to someone else's show at that time, and then you catch up later. That's the only reason. Aside from that, you better be watching and listening. But of course, I mean, Mo couldn't say it any better. Like, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, and all the credit in the world to them, and all the credit to their celebration once again out on the water. Jet skiing. Hoisting the cup. The goalie Vasilevsky took the Conn Smythe trophy, the playoff MVP award. He put her on top of his head because it's actually hollow at the bottom. Not a lot of people know that it's hollow, so he put her on his head. And they're wearing shirts that have the sayings from Nikita Kucherov's post game press conference. That was just electric.
I think that was my favorite part, was just him trash talking everybody after they won. Just like, yeah, you got that guy who won MVP out there in Vegas or whatever. And he was just everybody had target. There was no mercy. And I'd be the same way if I was back-to-back champs.
And not just that, when you think about it, Bars, all the complaining that everyone did, during the regular season and then come the playoffs. Because like Mo said, it came up a few times in the group chat, what is this whole salary cap debacle that the Tampa Bay Lightning apparently, have an issue with? And I think this will be the perfect way to wrap it up. The Tampa Bay Lightning didn't break any rules. They followed the rules to a T. They complied with all the guidelines. They didn't circumvent the cap illegally. They did it the right way. By the way, other Stanley Cup champions have done this. When the St. Louis Blues won a couple years ago, Bars, they were over the cap. I think even this season, going into the playoffs, St. Louis was over the cap, and they lost in round one. But we don't care about that because they didn't make it to the finals. So all this hate that the Tampa Bay Lightning get, of course, that's what happens with outstanding teams, and that's what the Tampa Bay Lightning are after years. And this is why I personally rooted for this repeat to happen. Bars, you can attest to this. I've said the entire year they were going to repeat. I wanted this to happen because when we get to see windows of this kind of greatness in sports, you want to see it go follow through, and especially because Tampa Bay, they made the Stanley Cup final back in 2015 and lost. They made the conference finals 2 or 3 times after that, and they kept losing. And then after 2019, when they got swept, there was such big concern, okay, this team is going to get blown up. And the fact that they didn't do that, they stayed the course, improved, and now have won back-to-back. I love seeing great teams capitalize, and that's what Tampa Bay has done. And they have a chance to become a dynasty. But of course, that's reserved for a future episode and an article that'll be coming out in the near future. But of course, ain't no better way to say it. Tampa Bay, you are title town, and you bring the cup back home. But now, speaking of awards that we want to give out to people, James, it's that time of year. It's MLB All-Star Weekend. Well, technically week, not weekend. I wish it was during the weekend. But with it being the All-Star break, that essentially means it is mid-season award time. So you already know that we were going to do this. We kind of teased it. One of our first episodes, James, we talked about these awards so early. And now we're bringing it back in full force. Our personal MLB mid-season award candidates and winners that we personally have so far for 2021. We are literally 80 plus games into the year, thankfully. I think the Mets are up to 80 games, right, Bars? I know it was, they're trailing.
Who knows, man? It's a doubleheader every other day. The Mets have probably only played 50 games. They're the Calgary Flames of the MLB. That's what it is. They're gonna be 20 games into the postseason. They still have another 50 regular season games to play. God knows what's happening over there.
We're going to get 10 straight games between the Mets and the Marlins to end the season. I could already foresee it. And that's not good for anyone. Well, except maybe the Marlins. But aside from that, of course, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to start out with the MLB midseason awards hot and ready. And we are starting off in the not conference, technically league, of the defending World Series champions. You want to talk about defending champions trying to go back at it. The Los Angeles Dodgers hold reign in the NL. They have for a while. They've won the NL pennant 3 times within the last, 5 or 6 years is it now, James? And everyone's trying to knock them off. And to knock off a team like that, like I've spoken about with Tampa Bay, it takes talent. So, Bars, let's talk about some of this elite talent that is in the NL this season. Who do you have as your top candidates and potentially winner, if you do have that, for the NL Rookie of the Year award?
Well, the crazy part is you mentioned the Marlins and the Marlins and Mets, and the Marlins actually got 2 of the guys I have in my top 3 for the NL Rookie of the Year award. First is a guy I previously mentioned before, and that's Trevor Rogers. He's still being he has a dragon of an arm. He just throws nothing but fire. He's being amazing. It's it's shocking the numbers he's putting up as a rookie. Next, I have Ian Anderson, who's another starting pitcher, young pitcher who had to get thrusted in for the Braves. He stepped up real good because the Braves actually have a bunch of injuries to their starting lineup. They lost Mike Soroka, who was a Cy Young candidate, due to 2, and he tore his ACL not once but twice, the same ACL. And after that, you're never sure if a guy is going to really even come back for a career. Prayers up for him, hopefully. But Ian Anderson, he stepped right in because they even signed Charlie Morton off the Rays during the offseason, and he's just been not even slight disappointment. He's been a huge disappointment. But Ian Anderson, this kid, he stepped right in, and he's looking great as their number 2 starter. And the second Marlin that I have on this list is actually Jazz Chisholm, who, when the year started, he was a plus 5,000 Rookie of the Year candidate. And honestly, when I watch this kid, I don't see how, because defensively, he's just a stud. Especially against the Mets. For some reason, they love hitting the ball straight to this guy, and he stops anything going their way, which is exactly how I know him. It's just, who is this guy? And his name's Jazz. How do you forget that, But besides the defensive prowess, this kid he's almost like the reincarnation of D. Gordon when D. Gordon was in Miami, because he's good for average. He steals bases. He knows how to work the pitches. He's just all around going to be a great player. And honestly, if he gets hot going towards the end of the year, because he was injured for a short period, I could completely see him run away with the NL. If it's not him, it's probably most likely going to be his teammate, Trevor Rogers.
Absolutely outstanding right there. 2 guys I want to give a quick shout out to, because we're talking about 2 rookies on one team. I know these guys probably were on your radar as well, but their stats are just a bit too low compared to these 3 names you mentioned. But Jonathan India and Tyler Stephenson from the Cincinnati Reds, both having pretty good rookie campaigns for themselves in a season where the Reds have actually surprised some people being as competitive as they are to this point. Team a couple weeks back, we gave our opinion on, especially James, on if they should, continue, stay the course or just blow it up.
Blow it up.
Yeah, but these 2 kids, they could definitely be, pieces of the future that could do good for Cincinnati. But of course, obviously, the top 3 guys, like you mentioned, are mine as well. I have Jazz Chisholm Jr. as my number 3. I have Ian Anderson as my number 2, and I have Trevor Rogers as my number 1. My thing with, and this is why I have Rogers and Anderson as my 1 and 2. Because I really think it's a big deal when a young pitcher has to step into a situation that a lot sooner than what we expected. When coming into the season, James, Rogers, at best, what he should have been is the show signs that he could be the 3rd pitcher in this rotation for the Marlins for the future. But because of the injuries to Sixto Sanchez, and Sandy Alcantara has been, pretty good, but not great necessarily this season. Rogers has essentially looked like he should be the ace of the future this season. Over 100 strikeouts at this point going into the break. His K per 9 innings was like hovering around 11, which is absolutely wild when you have that kind of lethal arm to throw pitches like that in the strike zone and get those strikeouts. And then his WAR as well is above 3. For the Miami Marlins, they've been rebuilding for a while now, and you need to show the signs that the rebuild's been doing good. And Trevor Rogers and Jazz Chisholm are two of those signs. And like you said, if Chisholm has just an electric run to end the year, I could definitely see him taking over the Rookie of the Year race if he just starts hacking it out the park. Because this kid, for everything you say, he has sneaky power to his bat, very sneaky power to his bat. So he'll be a threat. And then same thing with Ian Anderson, the kid coming in about 100 strikeouts to this point of the season, above 500 record. His WAR is just under 3 last I checked. Like you said, the injury luck for the Braves is just so bad this season. And if they were fully healthy in that pitching rotation, this kid would just be the number 3. And if he was producing like this at like the number 3-4 spot, like that's what you want out of a rookie. So all the credit in the world. But I too have Trevor Rogers at this point as my NL Rookie of the Year winner. Now moving on, let's keep on this trend when we talk about pitching, James, and let's go to the NL Cy Young Award. And is it really worth it to mention like a lot of other names here? Or should we just skip to the guy that we know is going to win this?
Just say the name, Jurg. I mean, do we even have to say the name? Everyone knows who we're picking. I mean, if you don't know who we're picking, what have you been watching? Realistically, I'm sorry. It's just greatness you're missing out on. It's literally history making. There's not been a pitcher to ever do what this guy's doing. It's just insane. And that's also, in case you really don't realize what I'm talking about, is Mr. Jacob deGrom.
Jacob deGrom is how do I even describe it? The distance he's put between himself and whoever you want to place in second for the Cy Young Award. He's just been a different beast this season. Like calling him an animal on the mound doesn't even do justice on what he's done throughout the year. Above 500 record, thankfully, which was my biggest concern coming into the season for him, with a WAR of way above 4. But it's the stats, James. His ERA is just barely above 1, which, by the way, it's only above 1 because of his last couple starts. Before his last handful of starts here recently, James, his ERA was like, what, 0.4?
0.51, I want to be to say exact.
Oh, my God. He was literally allowing less than 1 earned run a game by average. That's just at a completely different level.
And to add on another fact, it's not that he had a couple bad starts. It's that this guy's been playing not super injured, but he's had a couple nagging injuries. Because when you're throwing 20 straight pitches at like 100 plus miles per hour, you're going to get hurt,
And like you said, his bad starts, quote unquote, he's only letting up 2 or 3 earned runs. That's a bad start for Jacob deGrom. How many other pitchers in the league would dream of having that kind of start on any given night? And that's his bad starts this season compared to what we've seen. Like I said, ERA is just above 1, about 150 strikeouts on the season, give or take a few. Whip is way below 1 as well. It's like a 0.54 last I saw. Only 11 walks on the season, James. He's averaging 13 strikeouts per every walk he throws, which is absolutely wild. And also in terms of his earned runs, which we mentioned, only 11 earned runs on the season allowed total, but he has 12 hits. This dude is hitting the ball better than he's allowing runs given up. That is just next level. And like you said, James, we're not going to waste too much time. We're not going to deliberate much more. If you have to put someone in second place behind deGrom, who would your first pick? Because I think we all know he's running away with this. deGrom could rest the second half of the season. I wouldn't care, and he would still be my award winner. So who would you have to put as your second guy for Cy Young, James?
I'm actually going to give you 3 people, Jurg. Let's just pretend deGrom doesn't exist for a moment. Let's give everyone a fair chance real quick. My top 3 guys is, number 1 is actually going to be Kevin Gausman from the San Francisco Giants. This guy, let me tell you, besides saving the Giants, he's saving my fantasy team because we are sitting pretty at 1 thanks to him. Sneakiest pick you could have got in the last round, but he's been almost just as dominant as deGrom. It's actually kind of crazy. He has 114 innings pitched with 133 strikeouts. That is 19 more strikeouts than innings pitched he has. And he actually has pretty good control himself. Is it 11 walks only? No, but it's 30 walks to 133 strikeouts. So it's less than a quarter of the amount of pitches. And the Giants are only winning not because of just him, because Anthony Descalfini has actually been another great player who's someone I would have as an honorable mention for this Cy Young Award. But because of him, his winning record at the moment is currently, I had scrolled that up. He's got 9 wins right now, and strictly because of Giants. And he has a whole bunch of other no decisions because the bullpen kind of messed it up for him. He'd be my number 1 right now. There was no such thing as Jacob deGrom. My number 2 is a guy I've been preaching since the beginning of this podcast, and I still say it because he's actually a personal favorite of mine, and that's Brandon Woodruff, because he's just tucked away in Milwaukee, and he's just been dominant. He's been dominant for like the last 4 years. The only reason he's actually getting noticed now is because he took his dominance to a whole other level, and now he has a Robin in Corbin Burns, who's a young and upcoming rookie that I did mention in my preseason rankings. And then last but not least, you got to mention the ace of the World Series defending champs, because he's also having a great year, and that's Walker Buehler. And that's the 3 people I put for consideration for Cy Young in the NL if it wasn't for a Mr. Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, and I think we're going to need something very similar when it comes to the MVP award as well, because, of course, we're basing this off of midseason. We're predominantly saying that we are going to give the award to this player based off of what we've seen and maybe slight assumption of what we're going to see. And along with the Cy Young Award, I can't see a lot of reasons why you keep the MVP award away from Jacob deGrom as well. If his ERA, I'm not even going to be ridiculous with it. If he keeps his ERA below 2 this entire season, he should get the award, because I think in the last decade or so, we saw Clayton Kershaw win the MVP award. We saw this was in the AL, but Justin Verlander when he won the AL MVP award, and both of their ERAs, it was very good back then. It was like, I think Kershaw's that season was around a 2, give or take, and same with Verlander's. Right now, deGrom's at a 1.08. At one point, he was a 0.5. Like, that is just next level on what he's been doing. So, again, very similar thing. I think the only thing that keeps the NL MVP award from him, and because it's a media voted award, if he has 1 or 2 bad starts in the second half, I could see people trying to take away from his hype, because that is just what the media does. We love to build guys up and then tear them down. We've been saying for so long we want Jacob deGrom to finally be on a good team, and now the Mets are finally playing good. And I can already see the people when deGrom lets up like 4 or 5 runs in a start finally, everyone's going to be like, well, he's just overrated. He's not that good, which just shows that you absolutely know nothing about baseball if you say that, so we don't even need to take your opinion into account. But it's this whole narrative thing that I personally, when it comes to these awards, it's a pet peeve. So right now, he's my MVP award. I'm sure it's very similar with you, James. But just like with the Cy Young Award, at least in my world, if Jacob deGrom didn't exist, you would be A, very sad. But then B, if I had to give the NL MVP award to someone else, I mean, who else would I give it to aside from Fernando Tatis Jr.? This dude is absolutely different when he's on the baseball field. I would give him, if deGrom didn't exist, I'd give him the MVP award based off of the highlight from, I think it was last week, James, where he just jumped up in the infield and caught that ball that was like,
oh, that was sick. He climbed the ladder for that thing.
And honestly, James, if you look at the replay, it kind of looked like he realized mid-jump that he really had to go high. It's almost like he got himself higher in the air to make sure he got that. He's just an absolute freak of nature. Again, I've said it with football and basketball players. I'm going to say it with Tatis. There is zero chance I'm the same species of human as him, because that dude is just different on a baseball diamond. So for myself personally, if Jacob deGrom did not exist, Fernando Tatis would be my number 2. Or, well, he'd be my number 1, but with deGrom here, of course, he's my number 2. And I just want to give shout out real quick, because he's obviously not going to play the rest of this season, but Ronald Acuna was in my top 3 to this point. Sadly, he's going to be out for the entire year. Just the Achilles tendon is the Achilles heel for the Atlanta Braves. Soroka, they lost to the Achilles, and now Acuna. He would definitely have been in my top 3.
ACL on Acuna.
Really? Oh, I thought it was his Achilles.
No, thank God. Oh, my God. It was a kid. Let me tell you, I'm a Mets fan. We hate the Braves. I spit on the Braves. But Ronald Acuna, this guy he's the greatest baseball. Not the greatest I've ever seen, but he is up there. He's the best.
One of the best.
He's the best in the league currently. Mike Trout, yes, he's amazing. Shohei, yes, but no. In terms of just straight talent, raw power, speed, fielding, everything, Ronald Acuna is the whole package, and the league took a dive when he got hurt this past weekend. And my fantasy team might take a dive because he was my number 1 pick, but that's all right. We're still in first, 10 games up. It's all right. We don't mind. But
so speaking of which, James, who are your MVP candidate?
Exactly.
Always has to mention his fantasy team, but who are your MVP?
I got to let everyone know I'm in first. That's it. So my NL candidates for MVP besides Mr. Jacob deGrom is the same thing as you. It would be deGrom, Tatis, and one guy you actually didn't mention, who actually is his name being in the MVP conversation is kind of shocking, is Nick Castellanos, who It's kind of crazy because we're bad-mouthing the Reds so much, and I keep saying they should blow it up, but he's playing for the Reds, and he's having an amazing season. He's actually batting .331. He has 18 home runs, 59 RBIs, and he's been, if the Reds weren't doing bad, man, he would have been the missing piece that they needed. He's been straight. When he came out the gate of the season, just out fired. He's calmed down a little bit, but he's still leading this team, and it's one of those MVP years where it's that guy you would never expect it from, because he actually got voted into his first All-Star game this year. So it's kind of really crazy the stats this guy's putting up. But hey, you always love seeing that coming from a veteran who's been in the league almost 10 plus years already.
Absolutely. And, all the credit in the world to him that he's having this season. He was definitely, obviously, before the Acuna injury, in my top 4, top 5 for the award. And I think now with Acuna gone, this is a prime opportunity for him to get into that top 3. He could honestly be, if the Reds really go on a run here, James, I could see Castellanos getting more credit, more push for him being the NL MVP. Because if you get the Cincinnati Reds into the playoffs this season, give him the Hank Aaron Award too. Why don't you? I don't care if he doesn't lead the league in homers. Like, just give him almost every award you can. Give him a World Series ring, even if they don't win at this point, because you take on the Herculean task, like Atlas holding the globe, of bringing the Cincinnati Reds back to the playoffs. Oh man, the guy deserves all the awards in the world. But speaking of all the awards, we're nowhere near done. It is time now for the AL side of things, and we are going to start just like we did with the NL. AL Rookie of the Year, James. Why? No, let me put it like this. Why is Adolis Garcia going to win AL Rookie of the Year?
I mean, why not? This guy's just been straight up dominant. If you haven't heard his name yet, you need to get familiar with it. He has 22 home runs as a rookie. I mean, that you barely ever hear that. And anytime you do hear of that, the guy's winning Rookie of the Year. So here we are. 22 home runs, 63 RBIs. He's batting a smooth 270, which nowadays, with the way the launch angle is and everything, 270 is like what used to be a 300 hitter 5 years ago. So he's been straight up dominant. It's exactly what Texas needs. Like when we had Logan a couple weeks ago, Texas is in that weird rebuild, but like not contesting phase. He's just the reason why you should keep rebuilding. Yes, he's 28 years old, but he's the type of rookie that makes a turnaround happen quick. Another guy who I'm going to mention, he's technically my number 3, but he would be like number 2 on everybody else's list, is Randy Arozarena. He's number 3 for me because I just told you before the episode started, Jurg, I hate when you got these Rookie of the Year guys. Meanwhile, this guy was a postseason hero last year. He literally, if it wasn't for him, the Rays might have never made it to the World Series with the way he had that Herculean run. I like that term you use because he was straight up Hercules with the way he was hitting home runs almost every game, if not every other game. It reminded me of Daniel Murphy when the Mets went to the World Series. And last but not least, for Rookie of the Year, I have Shane, teammate of Randy's Rosarena's is Shane. I'm going to mess up this name. McCallanahan, something like that. Very Irish. My girlfriend's going to hate me the fact that I messed it up, but it's okay. But this guy, he came into the league and he's been pretty dominant. He's a pitcher you got to keep your eye open for. I don't have his stats currently in front of me because for some reason my internet's acting up. Hopefully we don't lose my connection again for like the 3rd time in our season, Jurg.
We better not. We better not.
But regardless, he has been straight dominant. He has currently under a 3 ERA. His strike zone, and he just has great control. Everything you see from the kid. And also, he's on the Rays. If we learned anything from the Rays, is they know how to create pitchers. The Rays and the Astros are 2 of the best places as a starting pitcher you could go if you really want to learn and grow and become a straight dominant pitcher. And that's exactly what Shane McCallanahan has done.
I respect it. I respect it at all. He's in my list as well. I mean, you already said, we've already said Adolis Garcia. He's reminding me, James, at least for myself personally, he's giving me flashbacks to the rookie year that Yordan Alvarez had a couple years ago for the Astros. Just showing off the bat early, a pretty good batting average for a rookie. I forget how old he was when he was rookie. I don't think he was that old, but yeah, Adolis Garcia may be a little bit older than when most rookies are. But like you said, maybe if the Rangers can catch fire, he could be a guy that contributes. Or worst case scenario, if they still need to rebuild in 2 to 3 seasons, you trade him away when he's 30. There's still some value there for a guy that's going to be in his arbitration years at that point. And, do a contract, but he's performed so well. Like, you could do a lot there. Just other pitchers to name. Well, I just mentioned the Astros, funny enough. Luis Garcia on them. His ERA isn't the greatest. It's just above a 3, which, in today's era, it's kind of like you'll take that for an ERA in today's game, considering all the home runs that are hit. But, again, he's a guy that has kind of had to be thrusted a little bit more than what he should have been because Zach Greinke hasn't been ideal throughout the season. McCullers as well with the Astros. Like, again, I personally like these pitchers that when you put them in a situation that they weren't expecting, they're doing pretty well. And maybe not to the level of Rogers or Anderson in the NL, but Luis Garcia has more than held his own. And so I definitely think he's going to be like top 4, top 5 come the end. And also Casey Mize for the Detroit Tigers, former top pick for them. He struggled a little bit in his appearances in 2020. Looked very, very good so far in 2021. The kid deserves a lot of credit. Detroit is going to be rebuilding. I'm probably willing to bet one of us is going to get married by the time Detroit is finally a playoff team again, James. So until we get to see Casey Mize play important baseball games, we will wait for that. But right now, to see that he's doing good, you got to feel good for the guy. But yes, Adolis Garcia as well as my AL Rookie of the Year a winner. But again, I'm just giving all the love to the pitching in this one, James. So I want to continue this love to the pitching. The AL Cy Young Award. Now, not to the same extent of in the NL where we know it's Jacob deGrom. It's like it's deGrom, then there's everyone else. But there have been some very good pitchers this season in the American League, James. And some guys that have actually had better seasons than most would have thought going into it. We have some surprise guys coming in and doing their thing. So I'm just going to throw it to you here. Who do you have? I'm very interested to see because I always defer to you for your baseball knowledge, James. And I was having some struggles picking my AL Cy Young Award winner personally. But who is your winner of the award this season?
I was struggling a little bit too, Jurg, because, I tried just going off what I know off the top of my head, but I also like comparing myself, to the reports that are out there. Some people report whatever they got their front runners. And actually, it was kind of shocking. You saw a lot of relief pitchers getting a lot of Cy Young consideration. And, I'm all for it. But the one guy I got who's number one in my list for AL Cy Young is actually not a relief pitcher. He's a starting pitcher, and that's going to be Chris Bassett. This guy had a great year last year. Yes, it was a short year, but he had a under 3 ERA or just about 3 ERA. But this year he came out. At first he was struggling, but once after that first month shook off and he got that spring training month in, he has been straight dominant. He's the reason why the Oakland A's are proving me wrong because I thought they were going to be completely a mess. But, of course, here they are fighting to be continually a perennial playoff performers. He has 118 strikeouts with 118 innings. Yes, that's not a lot, but he's not known as one of those crazy strikeout throwers. He has 29 walks. And the best part about it is, honestly, his win record. He has 10 wins to 2 losses. That's exactly why. That's the type of pitcher you need as your ace, where he's almost, yes, he's not has the dominant stuff that deGrom or Cole has, but he is that guaranteed win in your lineup that you just know you're going to get. The other 2 guys I actually have are on the same team. One of them is a relief pitcher. I have Lance Lynn, who is shocking this year because I did not think I knew he was going to be a decent. I did not think he would end up being an ace against Carlos Rodon. And, of course, I got to have their closer who is the best closer in the league this year, and that's Liam Hendriks. And he's just been straight dominant. When he's up there, just give him the save because I can't even think of a time he's blown up a save this season.
Definitely more than deserving award winners that you got right there. And I think the beauty with the Cy Young Award compared to most awards maybe the Rookie of the Year you could say, but the Cy Young isn't always predicated off the name of the pitcher. If a pitcher that you didn't expect at all, like a Lance Lynn, a veteran who's been in the league for quite a while now, I still remember him being a St. Louis Cardinal, James, and his time there very early on. When he showed early in his Cardinals tenure some signs that he could be like a top 2 pitcher in your rotation. And the fact that he's doing this all this time later for the White Sox, you definitely got to give him consideration. ERA just about 2, 9-3 record, way over 100 strikeouts. Carlos Rodon is going to get some credit as well. His ERA and record it's pretty good. It's not to the level of Lynn, but 130 strikeouts for him. His whip is below a 1,000. Like he is also one of those guys that you didn't expect coming into the season. Of course, he threw the no-hitter. That was almost a perfect game. But even past that, he's been good all around. But for myself personally, James, this guy isn't necessarily my pick to win the Cy Young Award, but at the same time, he got robbed a couple years ago when it should have been him. I have Garrett Cole potentially being in the Cy Young conversation. Like, I just don't like the fact that when he had a 30 strikeout season a couple years back, they just didn't give him the Cy Young Award. Like, I know Justin Verlander was good that season, but Garrett Cole was literally the most automatic W that we had. Aside from Jacob deGrom this season, he was the most automatic W that I had personally remembered seeing since when Kershaw won the MVP award back in 2014 or 15. So the fact that he didn't get it a couple years ago, I think he definitely deserves consideration here. Now, he's a guy that I don't think will end up getting because at the end of the day, again, this is a media thing. People are going to hold against him the initial starts he had after the fact that the whole spider tack and pine tar thing came out, but that shouldn't be held against him. He's had a couple of rough starts. Literally every single pitcher has some rough starts, and he just bounced back with a 12 strikeout performance, 0 earned runs against the Astros, 0 runs just in general against the Astros, showing that he could still be obviously that dude. And I think it's Garrett Cole. He's going to be in the conversation, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if he just bounces back a little bit. If that ERA gets back below to like a 2.3 or 2.2, I think he gets the award. Because then when it comes to him and Lynn, then the media is going to go with the name. And Garrett Cole, we know, is the bigger name, especially playing with the Yankees, the pinstripes. Come on now. Like, I feel bad for Lance Lynn for saying that, James, but like we can't deny it. If Cole has the bounce back that we're expecting, the Cy Young's going to be his.
No, you're 100% right. That's where media just goes straight to the pinstripes and the name, and there's nothing that Lance Lynn could do about it. But I'm not sure, Jurg. You're thinking it's automatic. He's going to get back to normal. The spin rate's already showing the difference. Yes, he's had a good game. I'm not saying he's not going to be a great pitcher still. Yes, he's going to be a great pitcher. But is he going to be worth that $300 million contract for years to come? I don't know. That's still yet to be found out.
Well, to be fair, we can't really hold the contract against him because here's the thing though. David Sampson said it himself. When you pay these players these 8, 9, 10-year deals, you're not paying for all 8 years of excellence. You're paying for 4 to 5 years, and then you deal with the last couple of years.
But if those 4 to 5 years start looking a little shaky because you don't got a little spider tack on, it's I don't know, Jurg.
Your Yankee hate isn't showing at all, James. But moving on now to the final award we have here, the AL MVP award. Let's be real here, James. It's between one of two guys.
It's one guy, really. He's running away with it. But then the second guy.
I have a second guy.
I have a second guy. He's smooth in second, though.
Smooth.
Obviously, first for me is going to be Shohei Ohtani. I don't see how he's playing both sides of the field. He's not even a modern day Babe Ruth anymore. He's Shohei Ohtani. He's made his name. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he wins the home run derby tonight because he's actually the odds-on favorite. I believe it was plus 300 for him. MyBookie.com, off the ball, free $100 deposit with you. But once again, he's number one. Number two is Vlad Guerrero because he was actually running away with it. And then Shohei Ohtani said, hold my beer because I could pitch as well. So hang on. So he slid right into my number 2 spot. My number 3 spot is going to surprise a lot of people. It's a teammate of Vlad Guerrero. Is he going to stay in there? I don't believe so, but he deserves a shout out for the way he's been playing this whole half of the season, and that's going to be Marcus Semien because I believe, yes, the Toronto Blue Jays signed George Springer. Marcus Semien has been the best signing for them of all time, possibly. Not only is this guy a defensive stud because he's won, I don't know how many Golden Gloves, but every year he was in Oakland, he was a Golden Glove shortstop. He has been straight dominant this year with the bat. He's batting above 300. He has an insane amount of home runs, 20 plus. And it's exactly what the Yankees needed throwing shortstop, and they could have thrown Glaber at second, as I've been preaching you forever, Jerk. But you know what? What do I know? I just have a first place fantasy team. It's okay. But regardless, it's just that's the one guy I think he deserves some flowers. Is he going to keep it up? Who knows? Because he's actually been on a little bit of a downslide. But I do think if he can pick it back up, not even pick it back up, if he could just keep how he's going, he's going to end up having some consideration for MVP.
And I like the fact that you have a bona fide third guy, James, because I think for a lot of people, they're not going to look past the two names of Ohtani and Vladdy, and rightfully so, because those two have just been so different. I personally believe that it's going to go to one of them. The reason why I'm saying that is because, what Shohei Ohtani is doing is literally we've never seen, because even Babe Ruth, of course, the game was so much different a century ago, but Ohtani is just doing this at such a different level that, like you said, he's not the modern Babe Ruth anymore. He's just Shohei Ohtani, because what he's doing, Babe Ruth couldn't even do back then, really. So he's been absolutely phenomenal. My only thing is, Vladdy, for all we say about these guys that bring in power, Vladdy is bringing the RBIs up there. He's got the batting averages outstanding, his slugging percentage. His OPS is, I know Ohtani, it's selective with him in his hitting, but Vladdy's OPS is better. Vlad, if he overtakes, this is my crux with why I think Vladdy could win the award over Shohei. If Vladimir Guerrero Jr. goes on a tear and he wins the Triple Crown, I would give him the MVP award for that. Because to me personally, we talk about things being devalued in sports, James. While not the perfect game, excuse me. While the no-hitter may be devalued, you know what's never going to be devalued? The Triple Crown Award. And in no way, shape, or form would I take away credit for the fact. Will I take away credit from a man that is just, having a season that we haven't seen since the last guy that did it and won the LA MVP award. So I'm just saying, I know Ohtani's been outstanding, James, but if Vladdy gets the Triple Crown, in my mind, how can we not give that man? Because we had expectations for him. He's even surpassed the expectations for that. And for a guy doing that good, that's that talented, I don't know, man. It would feel wrong. But at the same time, Ohtani's just been so good. It's one or the other. You could flip a coin. This, I've said it, James. I think you'll agree. This could be the closest MVP race we've had in baseball for the last 10 years or so.
For sure, man, because it's like I just said a couple of minutes ago, Vlad was running away with it. Then all of a sudden, Shohei Ohtani said, "Oh, you want me to hit some more home runs? All right." And even Vlad had to say it himself. He was like, "There's nothing I could do if this guy's pitching on the other side." Then he comes here, hits 2 home runs a game. Then he goes to the right field and catches an out. How are you going to beat that when you're only playing as an everyday player? This guy is also playing as a starting pitcher. And the great thing about Shohei Ohtani when he's on the mound is when he does have a bad game, you can't even really tell it was a bad game because he just shakes it off. You can see it. It doesn't get to his mental or anything. It's all right, it was a bad day at the office. I'll get him next time. And he does get him next time. So you're right. It is the first time in a while that it's a close MVP race. Maybe Vlad does something magnificent that just blows us away and has Shohei go oh, there he is. But I think it's Shohei's award to lose. I don't see how it's not Shohei's award to lose. But real quick, I just have a quick comment because I saw this ridiculous tweet by Stephen A. Smith. I'm not going to bring too much into it. I just want to say Stephen A. Smith says some really ignorant comments. And just because the man can't speak English and needs a translator does not mean that he is ruining the sport. If anything, he brought all the eyes onto baseball. But just I'm going to bring someone to bring all the eyes for us, Jurg, because it's my favorite time of the year. And we're going to talk about getting to know you. And how else can we do this besides bring one of my favorite people on the network? This man has been gone forever. Jurg, you know what? I'm not even going to intro him because you got some elaborate 3-page intro is going to make him sound like a king. So go ahead.
4-page, thank you very much. But no, in all seriousness, like you allude to, James, getting to know you, of course, our weekly segment where we bring on one of our Off the Ball Network compatriots and they quiz us. They give us 5 questions, fun facts about them, and they test me and James just to see who knows them better. And of course, with this game in mind, of course, we've had some heavy hitters so far. We had, of course, we have to start with Prez. Chris LeBron, VP Mo brought it. Justin Payton was absolutely phenomenal last week. If you ain't listened to that episode yet, you got to bring it on. And of course, I'm gonna say this for everyone at the Off the Ball Network, but this man that we're bringing on is just gonna keep the heavy hitters going. It's like we're facing 4 home run. It's like we're bringing on 4 home run derby winners in a row right now. This guy is one of the best in the basketball game. He is one of the just pure talkers of the sport of basketball. This guy is one of the best in the business. When he speaks ball, I don't care what you're doing, drop it and listen to him because what he is saying means something. He is one of the key parts to our network. He's both a franchise player and a glue guy. Like you said, one of our favorite people off the network because he is just, an absolute ball of energy that, you can't help but smile when you see this man talking. And of course, he is the director of operations at Off the Ball Network. One of our favorites, our guy, Stephen Gillaspie.
Hey, fellas, man, thank you so much for that awesome 4-page intro. And Bars, you didn't do too bad yourself, man. Just I'm humbled and honored. I don't know what to say right now. I'm just happy to be here.
Jurg got me in the lab practicing these intros, man. Every Monday he introduces me some other way. I'm like, I got to figure out a way to introduce Jurg now.
Yeah, I feel like I have to just be perfect now after that introduction. I don't want to mess it up. But real talk, Bars, Jurg, it's an honor and a privilege. I'm so happy to be back. You two have done so many great things for the network, for your own show, for yourselves as individuals since I've been gone. I couldn't be more proud to be a part of a network where I'm surrounded by such knowledgeable, well-rounded, versatile, just all-around brainiacs in sports media. And it's been a pleasure and an honor to grow alongside you guys and witness the growth that you guys have undergone.
Man,
Well,
forget
we
you, Jurg.
appreciate
He got the best intro now. He got me blushing here and everything.
Yeah, I'm red right now. Steven, you are worried. You're batting 1,000 right now. You're shooting 100% from three.
Not bad for cleanup, right? You said I'm the fourth one. That's not bad for cleanup.
Oh, you're perfect. You're perfect. You're in the grand slam every single time when you come up to the plate. But
There we
of
go.
course, Steven, we appreciate it. Like, there's just a list of guys. Like, we want everyone on the network, but there's just a list of guys. And when we made this game, like Bar said, when we were in the lab, we were coming up with this. I'm like, yo, when Steven comes on this, when he comes back and when he comes on this, we're going to have some fun with some of the questions he's going to bring. And of course, I'm very excited. And of course, your heartfelt words, like, it very much means a lot because you are one of the people, like, that I did, some stuff with on Off the Ball Network for the first time with podcasting. So to have you on here, man, is just the absolute best thing to do. And we always appreciate you because you're one of the most active people when it comes to the comments whenever we go live. You're one of the best.
Oh, man. Likewise, man. You guys it's just reciprocating love, man. And it's, I've come up with this term, in the job that I have, me and my buddies, we goof around. And one of the games we like to play is just a natural conversation. Like, how does like a key phrase or something apply to perhaps like a song title or like a tour or a tour band? And one of them for one of our tour names was a centrifugal force of friendship would be what we would call the tour for our band, titled Sack of Squirrels. I came up with that name, but
Nice.
Sack of Squirrels and the centrifugal force of friendship tour. And that's what I feel right now is just this centrifugal force of friendship.
That's the environment we want on this show every single time. And I'd like to think we've done a good job. Now, James, of course, you're like getting to know you is your brainchild. So I've introduced Steven, you remind everyone of the game, and let's get things going so you could just win this week. So
Are we really gonna just gloss over Sack of Squirrels like that? Like we're just gonna I mean, come on. Like we're not gonna bring some light to it real
it's
quick.
phenomenal. It's a phenomenal name.
I love it. But either way,
We're a 90s band type vibe, so I figure Sack of Squirrels is very like 90s, like garage band sounding,
Hey, when that mixtape comes out, let us know. We want to
Yeah,
hear.
you guys got front row seats and backstage passes to the Centrifugal Force of Friendship tour, so.
there you go. It sounds like a bunch of nuts over there at Sack of Squirrels.
Hey, look at that.
But either way, real quick, just to remind the fans and yourself, sir, we're doing getting to know you guys. Steven's going to ask us 5 questions, 3 choices each, and we're going to go over them again after me and Jurg make our choices. We're going to see who wins. If we end up tying, which we did the first time, which was kind of wild, we go into overtime. But it's all right. Everyone knows I'm going to win. Currently hold a 2-1 lead over you, Jurg. Is that what it is? All right.
I would just like to say if we end up going to OT, this guy won it in overtime last time. So I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right. So without further ado, go ahead, Mr. Director of Ops. Start it off.
All right, so question number 1, gentlemen, or statement really, fun fact, if you will. I myself am from the state of Mississippi, Arkansas, or Alabama.
Wow, you would think this is something we know, huh?
I mean, this is supposed to be the softball here.
Oh,
We better get this one. We don't get this one.
Put it on a tee, please. All right, I'm ready.
Move on.
Are we answering?
Oh,
No.
Okay.
We'll go
Yep.
through it at the
My
end.
bad.
Next
My bad.
question.
All good.
All right, so that was the first one. Second one, I'm in the military. The branch of service I am in is the Marines, the Air Force, or the Navy.
That's a softball toss.
That's
a
a real
softball.
softball.
Okay,
That's
there
a
we
real
go, there we go.
softball.
All right,
right.
good with that one.
All right, so the third one, I can play the guitar, the harmonica, or can beatbox.
See,
Okay.
it's tricky with the states he named before. You got to start thinking real quick.
Yeah,
I think beatboxing is out the picture real quick with the 3 states you named previously.
Okay.
I ain't giving you no more help after that, Jurg.
Hey,
All
I
right.
hope my answer is correct just because I think it would be an amazing visual.
I think we got the same thing locked in. So
There we go. All right, so number 4, I have 4 kids, 5 kids, or 3 kids.
quick question: when is this? When you wrote it, or is this currently? Because
You're trying to say like right now there could be another one.
rumor
that's
has it, Stephen, these kids.
My sources tell me.
full of rivers, is from what I'm hearing, Stephen.
it's so much to where all I have to do is look at my wife and wink, and it just happens now. So
Boom.
That's how long we've been together. All right, so
locked in with that answer as well, though.
All right, and my fifth one, I love bicycle riding, kayaking, or rock climbing.
That's a good one.
And then I have secret question 6 if we get to that one, right? Because y'all told me to have one in my back pocket.
Yeah, with me and him, you got to have it. Just
okay. So here we go. So question 1, we're going back to where I'm from. I'm from Mississippi, Arkansas, or Alabama.
Jurg, you first.
I hate you so much.
I won last week. It's not my fault.
I don't care.
Okay.
That means you should go first.
Losers walk,
I'll
as they say,
first.
right?
Arkansas. That's my guess.
Okay. Jurg, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, let me just say this. I'm getting this wrong because I'm second guessing myself already. I got Arkansas.
Y'all are both correct. I am from the state of Arkansas.
Razorbacks.
There we go.
He always roots for Razorbacks.
I was so worried. I was so worried, like I put myself in a hole already. Dang it.
All right, so we got it 1-1 right now. You guys both have correctly selected I'm from the state of Arkansas. Back to question 2. I am in the Marines, the Air Force, or the Navy?
Navy.
Yes, sir. Y'all both got it right. So both softballs, y'all knocked them straight out of the park. All right. So question 3, my musical talent, if you will, is playing the guitar, playing the harmonica, or beatboxing.
Steven, we may have to kick you off if it's not the harmonica.
Yeah, it's harmonica.
Dang it.
It's not the harmonica. And the reason I picked the harmonica is I thought y'all would play off the where I'm from state.
That's
so
exactly what
I know. I did it because to me, like, just the visual, like, I have never met a harmonica.
I wish I could play the harmonica.
See, I don't know. Something about you being from Arkansas and you in the Navy. I was like, I see a Navy guy popping out the harmonica real quick.
All right, so the real one is that I can beatbox.
Get out,
wow, James! You said he can't. James, you said he can't.
Hey, man! He has the backward cap. I should have known. We're gonna need a preview of that after the show, Stephen.
Okay, all right, I got you. All right, so question 4: I have 4 kids, 5 kids, or 3 kids.
I say 4.
4.
Y'all are both correct.
Oh man, Jurg! Wow, we are.
This is our career high.
Y'all know me. Y'all know me.
Our favorite person. We said
Mo and Chris are gonna be so mad that after
I'm too transparent. That's my problem. I'm too friendly to people, I guess, is what my issue is. But nah, I'm glad that y'all know me. This makes me feel better. I would feel some type of way if y'all didn't, no pressure or whatever. But all right, so question 5. I love bike riding, kayaking, or rock climbing.
Jurg, I went first last time.
You're right. I'll give it to you. Like, Steven just gives off rock climber to me. Like, I feel like Steven would enjoy a good like rock climbing wall. I really do. I think Steven would kill it personally. Like, if I'm wrong, Steven, I'm just gonna put it on rock wall because I think you would kill it personally. I really do.
All right, Bars, what do you think, man?
I got my one answer here, but then I was leaning towards rock climbing because I'm like, he's always in the water, so maybe he wants some land.
Should they be versatile in all terrains,
Nah, I'm gonna stick with kayaking. This is gonna make me lose it. Jurg's gonna tie it.
No, we're both at 3-3.
All right, so your winner today on Getting to Know You on Bunts and Bruises, brought to you by Breaking the Game in my bookie with promo code Off the Ball is going to be announced after this break. No, I'm just I'm playing.
That was beautiful.
It's Bars, you got it, brother.
Let's go.
Kayaking. But I am flattered. I might try rock climbing, Jurg. You again, the intro, the vibes of me being able to rock climb. I appreciate it.
Let me just say,
this guy.
We are the champions. It all comes full circle, baby. It's all right.
I want to get y'all's opinion on this one though, because y'all. I mean, can I do question 6? Am I breaking the rules?
Go ahead. Let's do it.
Just real quick. So, what I like to do for like my therapy sessions, right? Yoga, driving motorcycles, or drinking beer.
I'm going drinking beer. That's just me, though. It might not be your therapy session. That's my therapy session.
I mean, I'm gonna get this wrong. I feel like not because I'm all about the visuals right now. I love the visual of Steven on just like a Harley, just getting ready. It's like he's like his wife is like, all right, Steven, you got 30 minutes to relax. He just hops on the Harley. It's like, let me just go for a quick joyride.
It's yoga though. I know it's yoga.
Right?
I see it.
Oh no! So this one, if it counted, it would bring y'all back into a tie because Jurg, I do actually have a Harley Sportster 1200. So yeah, I call it my win therapy. So
let's go. So technically, I'm still undefeated on question 6s, James. So I'll just take that. I'll take that with me.
That's fine. 3-1. That's what the record shows.
Advanced analytics. There we go. I can dig it. That's what I love whenever I talk basketball. So there we go.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, absolutely, Steven, like everyone else has so far, we're 4 for 4. You absolutely knock it out the park with your questions. As expected, we expected some fun ones, and we definitely got it from there. I think, James, we need to have some fun with the people. The people should also guess their answers in the comments as well.
That would be dope.
We could have some fun here. So starting the next time we do it, obviously, because we just came up with the idea. While going along with it, you want to type in the comments, see if you are doing better than me weekly, which would probably be the case. Let's see how that goes. But I will say,
y'all got y'all's career high with me. So I mean,
we did.
Be happy with that.
Steven's the best possible teammate. He just dishes out. He makes sure that you're gonna shoot better from the field.
Steve Nash is my favorite basketball player, so I'm all about setting my guys up. With a little flair on my end, but ultimately y'all are the ones scoring the basket. So.
Hey, we appreciate that. But speaking of passing and shooting and scoring, Steven, so we got a little bit of time here before the show ends. Our last little bit of sports talk here. The NBA Finals, of course. You are, like I said, you're one of the best basketball minds in sports media today. And
thank you very much.
Of course, I mean you're the good Steven in sports media compared to all the other Stevens out there. So
don't be racist. If you watch off the ball, like we say that all the time, don't be racist or say racist like things if you're not racist.
Right. So, Steven, we just want to get it, your breakdown so far. Game 3 finished up between the Bucks and the Suns. It was a big literally must win for the Bucks, and they came through. Giannis is playing amazing. The Bucks stepped it up. What do you see now from this series going forward after Game 3 really just shifted everything? Because I think that was the best defense. Even though Phoenix eventually got their offense in the fourth quarter, that was the best defense anyone's played on the Suns in quite a while in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and just to kind of forewarn everybody, I have been gone for a couple months, but I did try to catch highlights and get analysis on the way that the series went. I made it in time for the finals. I actually listened to Game 5 of the Brooklyn Nets versus the Bucks about a couple 100 feet underwater on my job, so that was kind of cool because I'm on submarines, if anybody was wondering. But man, Game 3 was so intense. Jurg, you were right. It was definitely a must-win game. And it was funny, as before the game started, I tweeted at Drew Holiday, and I was like, Drew Holiday is going to have, he's going to have a comeback game today. And the first opening sequences of the game, he was involved throughout the game. He was involved. I believe he finished with around 19 points and just great shooting. Tremendous defense. I saw an interesting stat today where Chris Paul over the last 2 games has had 10 turnovers, and then the previous 5, I think he had 10, and all of that was because of the defense that Drew Holiday played on him. I know that we live in a very analytically driven NBA today. I myself sometimes can fall victim of it, where the best stats that anyone could have are points, rebounding, and assists. Those are kind of the low-hanging fruit of the NBA, but Drew Holiday does such an amazing job in everything else. And even his bad game, he almost had an Andre Drummond style triple-double where he had 10 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds, right? So he was impactful, just not in the ways that everybody is used to. I said before the series even started, if Giannis is healthy, I could see this going 6 games with the Bucks winning in 6. If Giannis didn't come back healthy, then I could see Phoenix winning in 6. And after the first 2 games, you could imagine how many people were ready to, just stone me in front of everybody. And Game 3 comes around, and lo and behold, Milwaukee at home is a completely different animal. Pardon the expression with the Bucks here, but they're a completely different animal at home. And we got to see my guy representing the state of Arkansas very well, the pride of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Bobby Portis had himself a tremendous Game 3 coming off the bench. It wasn't super efficient, but he hit some very clutch buckets. He had a lot of plays that established momentum. On Phoenix's end, however, we saw, Devin Booker not really have himself a typical Devin Booker game that we've been used to seeing throughout this playoffs. But I just have the feeling that he was kind of gassed out. Monty Williams sat him the majority of the second half, wasn't effective at all. We saw, DeAndre Ayton getting in a lot of foul trouble. The home team in the playoffs typically does get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the whistle, and Milwaukee definitely did get that this game. I'm not going to pretend that it was all just, superimposing effort by Milwaukee. They did get the benefit of the whistle this game, but ultimately, that's what we see. Phoenix had the same thing whenever they were playing their first two games, and Chris Paul, apparently underneath the referee that ref that last game, is 0-11 in the playoffs. That's an analytical stat for you right there. I loved hearing about that, but that probably should be investigated. But ultimately, man, I think that this is going to end up being a 6-game series. If I had to do it all over again, it feels like Phoenix is going to take this, but I still don't, give up hope that Milwaukee isn't going to finish in a Game 6 series either.
Right, and you definitely have all the reason in the world. Like, I'm one of the very few people that was with you, Stephen. Like, so many people going against Giannis, and in my mind, and maybe this is probably because Greece is near Albania, so I represent all my guys from that area. But just, you can't, like, this guy's the 2-time MVP. The fact that people had the audacity, and I know, like, I'll admit I'm maybe a little bit too hard on Chris Middleton sometimes. I know you were praising him earlier in the season, and Chris Middleton is a good player, but he can't be the guy on a team. At this point, he just can't. It needs to be the 2-time MVP. And I think from what we saw, Steven, I think you and James will agree with this. Like, Milwaukee just played with way more energy in that Game 3. It felt like games 1 and 2, they kind of came out flat. Some of the rebounds, they weren't always going for it. And when, like, you talked about the Devin Booker bad game, like when Book was just hitting shots in Phoenix, it was discouraging, I could imagine. And then when they see, I think even though it was close early, when Milwaukee started to see that Booker was struggling, that they were making him work, that Ayton had the foul troubles, I think that gave them the energy along with some of those plays to go at it. Because like you said, Bobby Portis had, like, you could argue, aside from Cam Johnson's dunk, the highlight of the game where he gets the block, and then on the other way, he gets rewarded with the dunk in transition. And then Giannis was just attacking the glass last night. Like, there were a couple times where he just snatches the offensive rebound away, and he either kicks it out or had some strong slams. I think it was just an energy thing with Milwaukee, and I think that's going to be the thing that needs to carry them in this series.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. And then PJ Tucker, as bad as we want to get onto him for that dunk, I mean, that's what happens in the NBA. If you're a defender, you're going to get dunked on at some point, and people are going to focus in on that. But let's not forget that PJ Tucker did all the hustle plays for Milwaukee that very same game that led to them being able to establish lead throughout the majority of that game. He got them a lot of second chance points. He came up with stops on the defensive end, aside from getting, dunked on by the jump shooter Cam Johnson, right? So that was interesting. And I will say too that it's easy and it's kind of getting to be low hanging fruit to pick on Mike Budenholzer, but Milwaukee did make adjustments this game. I mean, if we're going to criticize him for not making adjustments, we have to also, maybe not praise him, but just at least, give credit where a little bit of credit is due, that, like, okay, now he's making adjustments. We can sit back and say, well, it's about time. But at the same time, you're going to dog him regardless, right? But I think that Milwaukee played a tremendous game. They didn't need too much out of Chris Middleton. Back to your earlier point, Jurg, where I think he just needs moments. At certain points of the game, he does need to be the Milwaukee Bucks' most important player. Not their best, right? But their most important, to take a little bit of pressure off of Giannis. And then again, Drew Holiday had himself a tremendous game. Shout out to Pat Connaughton too for getting him, a Breen bang on ESPN. That was pretty phenomenal to see in the closing seconds of the fourth quarter.
Since you love analytics, Stephen, I just got to bring up one analytical fact that I thought was amazing. I think all our friends at Off the Ball is going to think amazing. For the last 33 years, I believe the stat was, there has been a former Knick in the NBA Finals, and this year there is 2. You had Bobby Portis, the aforementioned one, you also got Langston Galloway on the other side for Phoenix. So, Just saying, the Knicks are in the finals, I guess.
Yeah, if that's the type of stat that Knicks fans want to hold on to, then, they have a saying in the South that says, bless your heart, so a little bit of bless your heart here for, if that's what New York Knicks fans want to hold on to as to, being a great basketball team, then, hey, more power to you.
You know, I got no comment because I saw a tweet that said they didn't want to trade Bobby Portis and some other people for Chris Paul. I bet they're looking at it now like, damn, we should have made that trade. But regardless, like you said, Chris Middleton in the finals, I like how you said it. He doesn't have to be the best player, but when it comes down to those final moments, he has to be the most important player at those moments, because when you need that perimeter shot, that's something, yes, Giannis can shoot, but that's not what he's great at. But we have seen those moments where Chris Middleton can be the guy to lock it up and make some of those shots. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to play like that throughout the rest of the series. I see them losing the next game. I actually said before the series started, if Giannis isn't healthy, Suns in 5. Even if he is healthy, Suns in 6. So we'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm wrong. But this whole playoff series, even though they're playing injured teams, the Suns have just looked straight up dominant.
Yeah, and they have. And the one adjustment that I want to give credit to Mike Budenholzer for, and credit to Giannis too for accepting this role, is that he, for the majority of the game, was not on the perimeter looking to just attack off the dribble. What he did was he set screens and he rolled to the basket and did that very effectively. And what that allows is it allows a switch to occur to where now you have a big on a Chris Middleton or a Drew Holiday, right? So you have a big on either of those two guys, which they're not the best ball handlers, but they can certainly in a mismatch take guys off the dribble. And then Giannis is on a smaller defender, especially with DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble, which, again, let's shout out DeAndre Ayton for the phenomenal run that he's had this playoffs. He might come in and be one of the best, if he's not already established himself by this playoff series coming into next season, be looked at as one of the best big men in the entire NBA. I mean, he has just skyrocketed. How much of that is a credit to Chris Paul? Probably a decent bit, but DeAndre Ayton is making the game look a lot easier for everybody else on Phoenix. But real quick, back to Milwaukee, the switch that happens when you have Giannis as a screener happen as opposed to a ball handler, it allows for more of a mismatch on the ball handler side. It's not so much that Giannis is getting the mismatch as the ball handler. It's that when he's closer to the basket, he has a smaller defender on him. And then the ball handler, again, being either Middleton or Holiday, has a better mismatch for them as well. And they both have a mismatch in a spot where they can both attack depending on what's happening in the action.
I said it at the start, ladies and gentlemen. If this is one of the best in the game at breaking it down. This is one of the best in the game at breaking down the game in and of itself. Stephen, that was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We appreciate it. And like all of us at the network, we're very excited for this series to close out. We hope, all of us, what we hope for is an entertaining series. We don't want this one to end soon. We want this to go I want it to go 7, to be honest. If we could get a game 7 between these two teams, I think we'll have a really fun time on that one.
Yeah, 100% agree. It rarely goes to game 7, but we'll see what happens. It might not even make a game 6, like Bars said. But I'm here for it. I'm excited that it's not, the New Yorks of the world or the LAs of the world or the Miamis or the, any of the teams that we always expect to be here. None of them are here. We get Milwaukee and we get Phoenix, 2 teams that came into the NBA at the exact same time. Between the 2 teams, they both share 1 NBA championship. Between the 2 of them, they only have 1 player that has appeared in the finals, and that was just last season. So we have a lot of great stories coming out of this. For the naysayers out there who just look for a reason to hate the NBA, you can't say that, I don't just fast forward the season because X team is going to win it. And then now this season is like, I'm not going to credit or give, any sort of acknowledgement to whoever wins because their path was made easy because of X, Y, or Z reason. So this is a fun season. I'm excited that I get to be here for the closeout. I'm excited that I get to be here with you gentlemen to witness it and get to be a part of Bunts and Bruises. Again, you guys do such tremendous, tremendous work. You are 2 of the most, if not the 2 most well-rounded individuals in sports media, let alone on Off the Ball Network. And it's an honor and a privilege to be able to link up with y'all today.
Beautiful. Beautiful. This man is a savant. It's a savant. If only he could play the harmonica. If only he could play the harmonica.
I wish I could close out on the harmonica. I want to know how to play it. I need to teach myself or something, but yeah.
For sure. But James, I mean, we speak about this every week. You said it last week. I'm the fire starter. I'll be the Giannis. You be the Middleton. Close us out, my man, as always.
One more time, I just want to say it. My bookie, guys, promo code off the ball. If you listen to me at the beginning of the episode, your $100 is looking like it's going to turn to $200. Quick update. Pete Alonso, 35 home runs in his first round, destroyed Salvador Perez, but it's all right. Once again, Stephen, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for possibly the best getting to know you. Y'all got to step it up. The rest of y'all in the group chat. I know y'all watching.
The highest scoring getting to know you that we've had.
But regardless, guys, you already know what it is. Thank you. We're here every Monday, 8 p.m. We actually have breaking news. I almost glossed over this, Jerry. We have breaking news. You guys know where to follow us. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and now Spotify, but not just Spotify. We're on Apple Music, guys. We are on Apple Podcasts. They finally like us. The beef has ended. We are official. So please, more than anything, hop on Apple Podcasts, 5-star it. You don't even got to listen to the whole thing. Listen to a minute, fast forward to the end. I'll take the listen. Leave a nice review. Subscribe. Other than that, guys, you know where to see us. Everywhere else. It's Jurg. It's Bars. It's Steven. See you guys next week.
Much love, everybody.